right. Welcome back, Josh, Trav.
Are we going to slaughter PSA again on this episode?
I think we are. It's a piece of the information we're going to be covering today. Also, it's episode 20, guys.
Hey,
yeah,
we're almost. The episode's almost legal to drink.
That's right.
We talking about the 30th?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
We have a couple things we're going to cover. I actually think we have so much to talk about that we may have to cut Tinker Time at the end. We'll probably we'll do a little segment on Tinker Time. Probably won't be as long as usual, though.
We'll just be efficient.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we have... Today we have PSA with some more shenanigans, pausing all value bulk and value plus submissions now, as well as Pokemon Center in Japan starting to require IDs for checkouts, and then we have the 30th anniversary reveals that were yesterday. Chewy and I tried to do a little live session. We ran into some technical difficulties, but we did get a recording done and get that out, so I'll have a link in the description for you guys if you want to go check that video out and see the reveals for yourself in case you missed it. And then if we have time, we'll do a little Tinker Time at the end.
Okay.
But let's jump into it. So for starters, PSA bulk submissions, they are temporarily pausing all value service tiers, including value bulk, value, value plus, and value max, effective Tuesday, June 2nd, which is today at 3 p.m. PT. That makes their lowest submission price $79.99. The first thing I thought about was, is GameStop still going to have, $25 submissions for value bulk? And literally a few hours after that thought, GameStop switched up their submission price to $79.99. So we're back in the thick of it, boys, with PSA grading. Tag is still paused as well, as far as I know. I mean, is CGC going to make a play and suddenly pop off here? I don't know where we're at with this. I have
mixed feelings of it, because on one hand, if the hobby has grown that desirable, and I don't know who's is it more retail people doing subs, or is it more like the mystery pack, corporations and big companies that are sending in, hundreds of thousands or, tens of thousands of slabs? So really, where's the growth? Is the growth from retail? My mixed feelings are that if the growth is coming from retail investors, a collector that walks in, he has 5 slabs and he's going to send it off, dude, I'm super excited about that. That makes it happy. More people are in the hobby. But if it's really happening for people trying to profit off of the arbitrage of turning slab into a business model, then that hurts a little bit.
So a lot of speculation I've seen is this stems mainly from vendors and mystery grab packs. I don't know how much truth there is to that or not. I don't know, man. My first thought was, I think PSA slabs may shoot through the roof here if they suddenly become really just kind of a pain in the ass to grade due to turnaround times and pricing and everything else. If you've already got PSA slabs on hand and you don't have to wait a year, 160 business days, or however long it is, because I guess, correct me if I'm wrong, the $79.99 is that Express? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it is Express, what it says here. So your turnaround times are not going to be as long now that they've paused value in bulk?
30 to 40 business days.
Yeah.
Max insured value is $1,500.
I mean, when I started the shop, though, September of 2023, when 151 came out, it was 40 days to get a slab back on the value.
Wasn't the regular that they have now, 30 to 40 days and $80, wasn't that similar to what the entry level was, 30 to 40 days and $18.99 if you were in their membership?
It was as low as $15.99 if you were the collectors with their October special. You would have one. I would wait for the special to come out to get slabs submitted for $16, and then they raised that to $18.99. It's honestly been every 2 months over the last 18 months, something small has changed to whereas now it's a big thing changing.
Yeah, I don't know.
The other thing too that's weird about this is that how much of this we had the last segment from our previous show 2 weeks ago talking about is the $80 pushing a lot of collectors out of the price point. And I was really just thinking around, Pokemon, and we did some analysis internally where we said, hey, let's go back and retroactively look at the slabs that we've submitted. Josh put together a report. We had 1,800, almost 1,900 slabs that we had sent into PSA over the last year and a half. So 1,900, we're a brick and mortar card shop. We probably send in 40 a week on average, 35, 40 a week.
Maybe conservatively 40 every 2 weeks.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're not like a huge volume player. We're just selling them to people here internally. And we found that there's still, even at $80, there's still opportunity to make money and to have your card appreciate on. I mean, you gotta like pick your wins more so. Like, you can't be as aggressive with it because there's some cards where, like, if you get a 9 on the graded card, you're losing $80 this time versus before you would break even. But Pokemon, you can still make money. I'm a little sad about, and I guess sad's the wrong word because I honestly don't care, but for those investors, if you're not in Pokemon, let's say you're in any sports card brand or you're in Loricana or you're in a different, collectible thing, and now your price point is 80. Well, we can look on the Pokemon side and say, hey, yeah, if you get the Rockets Mewtwo in a 10, a raw is $500, and a 10 it's $1,500. Well, duh, you should send that in. But if you're in other collectible, verticals, how much does that $80 really pinch out all of the people that would be thinking about grading that now they can't grade because the other hobbies can't support the collectability in the 10s at the level that Pokemon can? And so I never thought about that until just this
Do you guys
episode.
think that like 9s will gain more value because of how long you have to wait to get your graded cards back from PSA? I mean, specifically for PSA.
I mean,
Or-
Travis said this 6 or 7 episodes ago, maybe even longer. What's happening in Pokemon is this is like economics. This is like a 300 level economics course. What's happening in Pokemon? All the theory that you talk about in econ and supply and demand and price and utility and all this stuff. You can have these theories, and then you see it play out inside of this niche market that we're in.
He was the economics major, by the way.
And in the middle of all that, in the middle of all that, there's PSA 9s. I'm just trying to look and think about one. A pseudo Wudo illustration rare, right? The one where he's hiding on the side of the street. In a 10, I want to say it's like $150. In a 9, it's like 30. Currently, that can't continue to exist because the impact. There's 2 things. The seller who spent the $80 to get that card graded will not
Plus
sell
shipping.
it. Correct.
If you only send in one card, you're paying $15 additional to that.
Yeah. So if the main driver of this is people that are doing grab bags and trying to collect the margin here between a 9 and a 10, when they get 9s back, the value of that card has to increase. Otherwise, it's not beneficial at all. And so I think 9s will instead of them being a $20 to $30 value for some of those like illustration rares and other cards, that 9's going to jump up to like $75, $80.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And because that's your cost in it. So nobody's going to – people would rather hold on to the inventory that they're in for $90 than sell it for $30. Like that just doesn't make sense. And so the market in a hypothetical sense, in a normal sense, will match that. Now, of course, if the public is like, no, we're never going to buy a 9 and there's no market for it, you only sell 1 a year, then of course the value will stay depressed, but it's going to increase because the cost of inputs increased, right? So I think the value of 9s go up. I floated Travis an idea of, hey, man, let's just grab up all the slabs and put them under lock and key for like five weeks and let all the prices go up. Because you got a couple things. I don't think it's just 9s that go up, but if all of the people that are not willing to spend $80 per card don't send cards in, you're all of a sudden going to have a slowdown in the amount of PSA cards. So just think about Chaos Rising. So Chaos Rising came out, a week and a half ago. And if you got an ETB and you pulled the gold Greninja and you sent it in, you wanted to send it in for grading, and you sent it to GameStop. You walked into GameStop last week and had them send it off. Well, you're 5 months out from getting that. You get an ETB today and you send it off, you try to have GameStop do it and they say $80, right? You're going to get it sooner than you got the one that you sent the week before, but a bunch of people aren't going to send it for $80. Reminder, there's still a bunch of people that are in this that are walking into GameStop that are spending $75 on 3 cards, not because they want the value to increase, because that's their kid's first big card pull. Or, you know, there was a tournament last weekend, and one of the kids that wins the tournament, if it's the first time he placed in a tournament and he's got the main card, he may want to get that card graded so it's safe for a long time. All of a sudden, those people are out of doing that because the cost is too much. And you find yourself in a spot where the amount of graded cards coming from PSA goes from, you know, whatever this level is, it's going to drop. And I think that that's their point. I think that that's what they're trying to do. We talked about that with Tag. Tag doesn't have the ability to. They've got to slow the supply down before they can increase their operational abilities. And so this is how they're doing that. The other thing, though, too, is you can run the quick math. This potentially is a executive with a spreadsheet in front of him that says we get 20,000 submissions a day. 75% of those are at $25. That's this amount of money. If we raise it to 80, will we lower the amount of submissions that we got, but will we lower it not enough to actually decrease the amount of revenue that we make?
So, yeah.
That's equilibrium theory.
Yeah, and
that was my next question is, do you guys think that if PSA pauses value bulk like they have and enough people don't care and keep submitting at $80, do they just go away with value bulk and just be like, screw it, our new standard is going to be 80 because people are paying it?
Yeah, right? Just like in cards or sealed product in the secondary market, the value of a thing is what someone's willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
It's not some set
The one
notion.
thing, though, that has like unintended consequences of this, though, is that if there ends up being less people tomorrow that send in cards for grading, that the ripple effect of that's going to take a long time to play out because, I forget the exact number, but if you look at the number of submissions that are in their backlog, it's like 3 times higher today than what it was 2 years ago. Yeah. And so even if basically if people stop submitting, if everybody stops submitting, I think they said they have like a 12-month backlog or something crazy like that. You have to spot check me on what they said. So regardless, no matter what they do, that $80, you're not going to see the trickle-down effects of that next month, 2 months from now, 3 months from now, in terms of the number of slabs hitting the market. Now, what you may see immediately are value shoppers, to Josh's point, your point too, which is are PSA 9s now more valuable because the $80 that it costs to get it graded, people are trying to hold on to those. I think PSA 9, ever since I got into the hobby, it's the most underappreciated single collectible asset in the hobby that there is, especially modern. I did an analysis, every card from Sword and Shield base set to current. This was like 3 weeks ago I did this. Like 98% of them, the raw price was within 5% of the graded 9 price.
Yeah. It drives me crazy.
On 5.5 years of Pokemon. And a lot of times PSA 9s, I look at a PSA 9 and sometimes to me is indistinguishable from a 10. It's like, we send out, we've had this talk many, many, many times, and it's the consistency problem that people are mad at PSA about. I could submit 100 flawless card in the same sub. No way am I ever going to get all 100 of those cards back as a 10. There's something psychological that PSA is never going to give you like a perfect, flawless submission. And so my point with that is that you can have a 9 that on a different sub, it will be a 10. And so as a result of that, the integrity or the quality of the card, 9s are really good. So, I hope it goes up in price as a result.
There's a 2007, 2008 Upper Deck rookie card for Kevin Durant. That's a BGS 9 that sold for $800,000. So there's a lot of non-PSA 10s in the sports world because they have these rare cards that are non-10 that are relatively, ridiculously expensive. Is there I guess the Illustrator Pikachu is an expensive graded Pokemon card, right? But outside of that, there are a whole bunch of super expensive, multiple $100,000 cards that are not 10s. And so this idea that you have to have a 10 for the value to be there or for the dollar to be there is ridiculous. Once again, serial numbered 3 out of 10 Patrick Mahomes in a 9.5 is $1.08 million.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So you're not, I feel like you're making a good point here, Trav, that, PSA 10 is the only place the value is. Well, part of that is driven by supply, how many PSA 9s exist. But on the flip of it, it's also the entire world of, PSA 10 is where it's at. And we see that a little bit in vintage. If you can get a 7 on a vintage card, you're generally doing better than if it was raw. But 6 or less, it's not there. Guys, there's a PSA 2 of a really rare card from a long time ago that is worth a couple $100,000 in the sports world. And so it's like,
but if for some reason though, like for Pokemon, that's not normally the case for modern, Sword and Shield and above. I used to call Sun and Moon modern. I'm starting to kind of come off of Sun and Moon being modern only because the data doesn't hold up. So that analysis starts to fall apart when you look at PSA 9s to raw. And so age makes the condition gap between raw and 9 greater. And so like the examples that you gave, 100% true, but when it speaks to modern, the data points to 9 are valued the same as near mint raw.
Right.
And so
that drives me crazy. Personally, I feel like if you get a 9 on a card and you spend $20 to grade it, it should at least be $20 more than a raw version, right? And
here was one other point, then we probably need to move on, and that's as a result of that $80 now being sent in for grading, and I talked through the claim that it's going to take 12 months for the supply of slabs to trickle. Let's say that there's a huge revolt and people just aren't submitting cards as great. Well, we're not going to feel that for at least a year. Let's fast forward a year. Let's assume that it's trickling down now. Does raw prices go down? Because if you're not sending in the card for grading anymore, that just means the supply of raw is now greater. And so PSA 9 may go up or PSA 10 may go up to reconcile the higher cost of grading. But does raw at the exact same token now go down because you've got across the board? I mean, this is some sort of law of averages, right? You could look at every card from Scarlet and Violet, every card from Sword and Shield. You could look at all population reports, and you could say, hey, over a 12-month window, at some point there's going to be the data. Some guy has the data. He's tracking, I'm sure, how the population reports over time of every single card. PSA population reports are available today, so surely somebody knows that Umbreon VMAX had 5,000 this month, 5,200 the next month, 50 like you can quantify the growth of population. Well, at some point when that starts to go down as a result of people not sending cards in, it just means that there's more raw on the market. Does the more raw on the market make it to where there's more sellers, there's more competitors, the raw price goes down? And then does the ripple effects of this mean that because the raw prices are going down, people aren't in the hobby, they're not investing as much, they're not holding on to their cards as much because they now have like, is this the thing that like kills the market? Like this is a wide, I don't know. It's going to take too long to find this out, but
I don't think that raw prices will go down simply because nothing changes from a pull rate standpoint for specific cards when it comes to ripping packs, right? Well, I think the inverse is going to happen, in my opinion. I think that it makes graded cards more premium, and graded price goes up. Mm-hmm. But I don't know that I see like necessarily cause like a linear effect to the raw and stuff. I get where you're coming from with there being more raw in the market, but is there more raw in the market when it's still like the constant? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Like the supply of packs.
I get you. The amount of whatever card, this chase card A, the amount of chase card A that's printed that everybody wants to go and get graded, doesn't change. The challenge is that Travis is pointing out is this $80 number, this 3x number on what it was, is that enough to keep it a lot of those illiquid because they're not available to be sold raw because they're in processing for 5 months at PSA, right? And so if there's more out there, right, if there's more supply, and the demand doesn't continue to increase, just like a non-chase card SIR in a set when it releases versus where it's at 3 weeks later, the value of it, right? Does that happen faster? And then in the middle of that, is a Destined Rivals pack now worth less? It's got the same amount of opportunity for the Mega Charizard, but if the Mega Charizard is $80 to get graded, that's still a good one, right? Because it's got a big return on the raw card versus a PSA 10. Does that drop the price of someone who's speculating in the market.
Yeah.
Because the numbers were so fantastical in the sense that, just as an example, the difference between a 9 and a 10 being only $25 on most cards, that doesn't exist, right? And so you had such a big gain from hitting a 10 that on some cards it was worth attempting a $250 to $500 stab at it to get it. The Magikarp is a good example. If you could get yourself on from Paldea Evolved, if you could get your hands on 20 Magikarps, it's almost worth it. The money's almost worth it to just get one in a 10, right? Well, now that math changes. That math changes pretty healthily. And so you can't make those same decisions from a speculative standpoint. So once again, the theory is all over the place. 3-4 months from now, we'll be able to have some idea of where things are headed. But the other piece too is theory only works in an environment where all things are being held equal. That's not. We don't have a rational buyer base in the sense that you guys had the podcast last week, right? You talked about how Akira Agawa's Mega Darkrai has a matching artwork to a Giratina.
It doesn't.
The Giratina still went up. It's almost $375.
Yeah.
Right? And so back to the Bulbasaur promo with the hidden little Pikachu in the corner. It's like, what are we doing, guys?
Well, you see the latest, the tag team Pikachu Zekrom, just the reg one.
Yeah.
Was a $40 card yesterday morning. After the 30th reveal, it's now a $150 card.
So we don't have a rational buyer base.
No,
also.
we don't.
So that's a piece that can fit in there. Okay,
That's true.
Let's move on to the next piece, which I think is the Japanese nation of Japan is reducing what internationals can do inside of their country when it comes to Pokemon.
Yes.
I had a chance. So I was at the regional in Indianapolis. One of the competitors there is someone that we've seen compete often. My youngest actually went up to him and introduced himself and had a pretty cool conversation with him. The guy was super chill. Had a chance to have a conversation, bounce a couple things off of him based off what I've read. So what I read was there's multiple impacts here. If you're a Japanese citizen, you can apply for a identification card. It's not as one-worldy, end apocalypse type thing as it's seen. It's more along the lines of like a driver's license or a passport card.
They call it a My Number card.
Yep. And so you have that, and there's a couple things that have been occurring. People had been trying to enter the lottery to play in a tournament in Japan, and they'd enter their whole family, and then so they'd increase their odds by 4 or 5 or 6, and when someone in their family would win, they would just go compete as that person. And so that's outside of the rules and the spirit of the rule there. So they implemented this change that your entry has to be tied to your card. On top of that, they have removed the ability or will remove the ability for you to purchase things from Pokemon stores, Pokemon centers, without this identification, not only in person but also online, which removes the ability for someone like me who can rent a post office box in Osaka, Japan, and have an address there and use that to buy stuff and then use a third-party service to ship it to me and get it relatively cheap and then turn around and flip it, right? Like a good example of that was the Team Rocket's briefcases that came out, a year ago. Lots of people were doing that with that. And so Pokemon has now stepped into the middle of that and said, no, you ain't doing that. This stuff is for Japanese citizens, and this is how we're going to stop international scalping. And then a third thing that they did on top of that was so you can't compete without this card. You can't buy product in person without this card. And they also reduced at Pokemon-sponsored events, you cannot sell an item over $1,000. Outside of like a couple high chase cards, like an Umbreon or whatever, but you can't sell sealed product from a Pokemon Center. So in our shop, we've got a couple of the Pokemon Center boxes from Hiroshima and Fukuoka. Those are not eligible to be sold at a Pokemon event as a vendor. So you can't sell those. So they kind of clamped down on a couple things here to limit the ability for someone to have a connection in Japan, fly to Japan, buy a whole bunch of stuff. If you live in Kansas and you decide to take an international flight to Japan and you buy a whole bunch of stuff, A, you can't because you don't have your card, right? B, you can't bring it back to sell it because you can't sell it at a Pokemon event. Now, you could sell it at other conventions or whatever the case may be. And while you're there, you also can't compete in a Pokemon event. So I don't know where this hits on my spectrum of like, why do you care? Or what's the big deal here? Or why are you getting involved?
It could be a domino that eventually, like, you pilot it there, and then it's going to be the English side solution to the Pokemon Center scalping.
Yeah.
I was more interested in how they're going to pull it off. It says here verification will use a smartphone's NFC reader to scan the user's card via an external government-approved service.
Yeah.
This will link the user to their Pokemon Player Club account, but Pokemon will not collect or store any personal information.
Yeah. So there's this thing called a CIC reader that the military uses for everything, and at its very base, at the weakest or the lightest amount of technology, it looks like a credit card reader, and you put your military ID in it, and then it gives you access to do stuff or read stuff or whatever the case may be. Get on base, get off base, buy at the comm or whatever. On top of that, in hospitals, everybody carries around their badges, and corporations, right? And that badge allows you access based on who you are. So my head, it's something very similar. It's like, hey, this card has some data that passes along a key that the system recognizes that the key is valid because it's tied to a valid ID, where no ID information is exchanged, just like the password. And yeah, I think I don't think the implementation is going to be hard. I think the response to it is going to frustrate some international people. There are probably there's a handful of small businesses that have been using contacts in Japan or relatives in Japan to purchase things for them on the small scale and then send them over, that they're no longer going to be able to do that.
Yeah, there's a lot of other people that use like buy VPNs to try and buy Japanese products, and they're going to be locked out. So it's going to be interesting.
I think I like Travis's point that it's a domino that could lead to other things. It seems like a relatively small step. It's like, in the shop, we have a verification step on a large purchase. It really is not intrusive, but it does protect against, the protection is very high for the store. And so in this, it's like, hey, they've added an additional protection step. Hey, you got to do this. And I'm sure they'll cut off the stores that don't. Right, the consequences will be strong. But I mean, if you go back, 25 years ago, you had to flash your ID to buy. I had to. Everybody still does, but for me, it's a long time ago. You had to flash your ID to buy a cigar, right, or a pack of cigarettes, or tobacco, or a drink, or whatever the case may be. This is no different than that. Yeah. Right. So it's interesting that it's Pokemon cards.
Yes.
Right. Right. It sounds silly as I say it out loud, but that's the world that they're in over there. And I like the idea of being able to protect against local people not being able to buy a product because it's being purchased to resell. They're making the game for the people, as opposed to a secondary business model for somebody else who's smart enough to recognize.
There were a few reports about a week and a half ago that some of the stores over in Japan are just damaging boxes or cutting corners on packs as they sell them. Yeah. So that's not something new they've done, actually. Yeah. I think it was back in 2022. They were purposely damaging boxes before they would sell them. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, like the boxes that we order, that we get from Japan have shrink wrap on them. This is the new Abyssai with our flying meatball on it.
Hey,
that we love so much.
Watch your language.
So you can see that it's got shrink wrap on it, right? It's got shrink wrap all the way. There's also a seal
pull
built
tab
into the box, right? And so it's a pull tab. You can buy a box at a store in Japan. You can buy a box. It's fine, but the pull tab has been pulled, right? It's not shrink wrapped, and so this just. One of the reasons that we pay for the shrink wrap on it is we want to make sure that the product is authentic.
Yeah, and you can map in Japanese, especially with specialty sets, and every box is seeded, so there's a specific amount of hits you get per box. So it's really easy when a box is not shrink wrapped or the pull tab has been missing for somebody to tamper with it.
Correct. And so this gives us the peace of mind to know that, hey, we've got an official product here from a distributor, et cetera.
Now they'll sell them though without the shrink wrap. For cheaper.
For cheaper.
Distributor, I mean.
Yeah, correct. But this is something that's occurred for a long time. And if I, as a consumer, was to walk into a Pokemon store in Japan and wanted to buy a box, I would not have the shrink wrap, and they'd pull the tab as I purchased it. Once again, to show that, hey, this is not for resale. There's not really a resale market for products that you can buy from a shop.
Right. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I don't know, Trav. You think it's going to end up coming to the English side? Are we going to have to card people as they come to the card?
Well, we talked about this. I mean, if I'm Pokemon, I'm changing nothing. Yeah. I mean, you've got historic all-time growth. You've got And people say this about scalpers too. It's the same theory that I have. You know, we bitch about scalpers. I love scalpers because if it wasn't for scalpers, and you guys say, well, he's a card shop owner. No, the hobby would not be as exciting. I lived in this hobby and I opened my card shop during the period of time where you would say it's probably one of the worst times to open a card shop. You're buying Scarlet. There were, for one distributors show their inventory count of how many boxes. Scarlet and Violet base set at all distributors had over 5,000 booster boxes available to purchase at all distributors simultaneously at one time. Distributors were discounting Scarlet and Violet booster boxes to $85. Paldea Evolved was the same thing. Paradox, even it was up to temp. I mean, you had 1.5 years of just a dead. The amount of people walking into the store, the amount of trades that we did, the amount of excitement, even the shows that you would go to weren't as exciting. You had a lot lower content creators online. Everything about the hobby that provides stimuli for you, the collector, would be worse off if the hobby wasn't the way that it was. And so the reason I bring up scalpers and the reason I bring up Pokemon doing nothing is that whatever has happened has created the conditions so that your hobby just explodes because you've allowed people to make a livelihood off of their hobby. You've given enough marginal upside for the small one-off person that whether they're a content creator, a brand influencer, a vendor, a PSA arbitrage flipper, a reseller, a scalper, whatever you are, you've created enough economic opportunity across all spectrums that you have brought in thousands of people that make their living off of this. Their reach and their influences goes to trickle down to bring more people into the hobby. So you've created this vicious, awesome brand lifting cycle for you. If you try to overcorrect that and you bring policing in, I feel it might kill the economy. All these people that are in it, the economic opportunity will not be there. They will leave the hobby. All of the new people that are coming in, joining the hobby as a response to their network will then leave the hobby. And then for people like us, a card shop, I'm laying people off. Our card shop's not as good as it is. The trickle-down effect is massive. And so maybe they're trying to do this. The Japan's a laboratory of experiment for what happens in the English side. But I'm like, why change it?
Yeah, I'd be really hard-pressed to see this come to the English side. I got to be honest. They've had lottery systems in Japan for years, and they've never implemented that on the English side. I don't see it really being a thing.
And on top of that, there currently are limits at most big box stores of what you can buy, and they're not limiting it to a driver's license.
Yeah.
You just go get back in line if there's not enough people, right? They don't really have a method yet.
All right, well, let's jump on to the next one. 30th anniversary reveal. Let's check it out, boys. So have you guys seen this yet at all? Or I know Chewy and I obviously did yesterday morning. Yeah. Kraus, I think you've seen most of it. Trav, have you had a chance?
I saw the 25 cards. I was kind of disappointed.
I think a lot of people felt very underwhelmed.
Are there more coming out that hasn't been revealed? Or is that the generation set had the RC collection? It was 20 to 25. The Celebration had the classic collection. Is this that version? And then there's another set that hasn't came out, which is the unique cards.
Here's what they're doing. They're doing every pack is 6 cards in the pack.
I knew that. Yeah.
Every pack is guaranteed to give you a Pikachu card.
Promo. Yep.
The Pikachu promos have 30 different variants. So that's your RC in this set.
I don't
30
think so.
Pikachu. You don't think so?
Aren't they numbered promos? Aren't they promos?
Every Pikachu's numbered out of 30. In the bottom left, but there's 30 different ones you can pull, and every pack has a Pikachu card in it.
Fair. I think I saw the Celebration cards are the Magikarp. I think is 121 out of 104.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just talking specifically to what he was saying with the set of 25.
Yeah, there's at least 104 base cards in this set. They've only revealed 30.
Yeah, but
so there's more,
and hopefully there's secret rares and stuff like that.
The illustration
there
rare.
Are illustration rares.
There's illustration rares what's the Lapras?
There's Lapras, Drifloon, Lycanroc.
I like the Drifloon. He's not my favorite Pokemon.
Hisuian Zorua is the other one they showed. I think there's going to be a new Hisuian Zoroark SIR in the set.
I'm trying to see the new rarity card, the Mew EX and the Mewtwo EX. They're numbered 1
At 128.
57 out of 128.
Yeah.
So
And what are the other cards numbered?
So the Pikachus are numbered as 37 out of 128, and then there's another number next to it, 15 out of 30. So there's all the Pikachu cards. The illustration rare is 136 out of 128. Okay, let me look at these. These have the same numbers as they had in the original set. So the Charizard's 4.
What's interesting is the cards themselves with the set amount are changed based on the language. Which the reason why I think that's interesting is because it's simultaneous release.
What do you mean it's changed by the language?
So when me and Chewy were watching the video, and I'll throw it up on the screen for you guys. Sure. But like the Japanese one, Chewy, what was it, like 105 on the Japanese Charizard was the set? It was like I forget the number of the Charizard, but out of 105 versus 128 on the Mewtwo. And then like in the German one, it was like 136 was the set size.
Got it.
It was really
it's different.
Strange. Yeah, but the reason that I think that's strange is because it's a simultaneous release, so they can't really, like, if they were going to hold back cards for specific promo boxes, or maybe I guess they still could.
Yeah.
In theory.
So, like, Trav, you got a double rare of Greninja in the Celebration set that's number 21. And then you've got an illustration rare that's 138. And then you got the big dogs, which are 157. So you got a 157 card set that includes 30 of these. It includes 30 Pikachus. It also includes 30 of the reprints. And so then you've got another 90-ish, almost 100-ish other cards that are going to come out that haven't been revealed yet. So it doesn't feel like they're doing an RC, like the Radiant Collection or the Celebrations Classic or whatever. What was it?
Well, they do.
So
they
the
do have
RC,
Classic
Radiant Collection and Classic.
The Classic Collection is the Legend Connecting Arts, the Crystal
Oh,
Lugia,
okay.
the Shining
so
Celebi.
We're
But
almost
the
going to have a 200.
Pikachus
We're
are
almost
what
going to
I
have a 180, 190 card set then.
Yeah. So like
When
the
you combine
Pikachus
them.
are what I was saying would be like the Radiant Collection as a subset, 30 out of 30 that you can collect kind of deal.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I think is going to happen. I don't know for sure. But there's some cool stuff in here. I mean, they've got the Crystal Lugia, the Shining Celebi, like Dark Tyranitar's in there in the Classic Collection.
Yeah,
I mean, Magikarp from Paldea evolved.
They've got the Sneasel, right? And here's the thing. Part of the underwhelmingness of this is some people that maybe, myself included, like don't know about the cards, right? So there's like, these aren't just picked at random. They almost have one of every like gimmick that Pokemon has done. You've got the level X's, you've got a Prime, you've got a Tag Team, you've got a VMAX, you got a V, you got a V-Star, you got a GX, you got all this stuff. You got the Legends cards, right? Now, why they picked Darkrai and Cresselia, no shade on the Pokemon, but like that wasn't the competitive one.
The break, Greninja Break is in there.
Yeah, Greninja Break.
Yeah.
Yep. So it was like that, or maybe the Zoroark Break that had the biggest impact in that era, etc. So an amazing rare's in there, an illustration rare's in there. The first full art trainer, which is N, is in there. So all of these kind of mean something. Once again, the Delcatty was played quite often. It was part of the meta. The Sneasel was the first banned card. You've got a Plasma card in there. You got a Break card, etc.
Gengar Prime.
Yeah, Gengar Prime. Shining Celebi and the Lugia were like the first cards that were super rare and collectible, which kind of like changed the game for collectible card games where all of a sudden you had this rare card that was in the set. And so almost every single one of these has their own specific homage to the last 30 years of Pokemon. And so I didn't realize that. I was watching a video last night and then listening to a podcast this morning about some people that have been in this since the beginning. And they are so elated. They feel like there was, a couple of them had different opinions about which cards they could have pulled from which eras that were better or worse or whatever the case may be. But it was like they hit them all, man. They were just knocking off all these things. And so just like the 25th and just like the 20th, when they chose cards, those cards are not chosen at random.
Right.
The reprints. There is nothing more quintessential about Pokemon than opening a pack of Pokemon cards and getting a Charizard, right? So every 5 years they reprint the Charizard.
The same, yeah.
And it's the same one. It's
yeah.
And almost everybody at any stage so far has been able to buy a pack of Pokemon cards and pull the base set Charizard or the little Pikachu, right? And that's like a significant portion of what Pokemon's trying to do. And that same sort of thought process goes all the way through to the illustration rare.
Yeah,
go
go
ahead. Well, one thing I'll mention too is that if you look at the history, the 20th anniversary set Generations and the Celebration set, neither of those were extremely collectible. Neither of those had super, super rare chase cards that people were going after. And the hype of the 30th has somewhat had a trickle-down effect to where Celebration has had this huge Like just in the last 6 months, Celebration has like skyrocketed up there. But I mean, we were selling. 18 months ago, I bought 100 Celebration ETBs off of one guy for $69 an ETB. And I think the market price was like 80.
Yeah.
And that was like 18 months ago. Now they've kind of gone up. The Celebration UPCs were $400 for like 5 years, 4.5 years, and now they're over $1,000. The Generation cards, the Radiant Collection cards, it wasn't until like the Flareon, Jolteon, Vaporeon, triple art, that one has kind of spiked in value. But if you look at them, like they were non-traditional sets in that they didn't really have, 5 or 6 banger artworks that people were really trying to chase after. It wasn't like one of the core, like, hey, Evolving Skies or Destined Rivals or Paldea Evolved. And so that's not really what the anniversary sets are for. Like I'm a little bummed that they don't have like 8 to 10 really awesome. Remember we were joking about take the one piece route and give me those exclusive or give me the one of ones. We had a previous episode about that. I'm bummed that they didn't do that, but I don't really blame them because they're like throwback to what kind of makes Pokemon unique. And so I don't know how collectible the set will be, but I probably think that it will be heavily, heavily printed.
Yes, I think the pull rate should be high, as we've seen with previous anniversary sets, especially with packs only having 6 cards in them per pack. What I find interesting is they've included illustration rares this time around, which means potentially we'll get SIRs in the set as well, which we did not have in the 25th regular set list. Something else that we obviously need to talk about is these new future art rares. Kraus rolling his eyes at me. I'm with you, Kraus. I honestly hate them. I think they're not very good looking cards. I shouldn't say hate. I need to see them in person. But man, they just look like full arts, man. They're
Oh, even beyond that, they just look weird. The energies look funny. They look like AI created them.
The Mew's nose has like a circular glow around it.
Yeah,
doesn't look proper.
like the psychic energy, which is usually an eye, is like squashed on the top left and the bottom right. Like they added something to it from an artistic standpoint that you can even kind of see in the background of the Mew EX. I mean, the Mew EX is going to get played. I mean, it's the same card that existed in competition for like 4 or 5 years prior to like regulation blocks. I mean, it was around for a bit. You got a 1 energy swap out. You've got a copy any attack on your bench, but you got to have the right energy attached. In the current environment, there's another card that gives dragon type psychic weakness. And so this is your 2 prizer into anything. 0 retreat. So, I mean, just this card's going to get played. The chrome look on it, it depends on what the treatment is. And just like the 25th and even the 20th, and then even what's the classic celebrations, where they sold the 3 different decks and they had the play area and the counters on it. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Even in that, the Japanese versions had a different holo treatment than the English did. And so I think the Japanese in this will look a little bit different. The cards will look different. It'll be interesting to see what the treatment looks like and how the card looks in real. But I don't know where they're going yet. But and part of that is we don't have the story here. What are they called? Like future rares?
They're called
or something?
future rares. The acronym is FUR. So that's a thing.
Yeah. Future rare.
There's also a Pikachu that they haven't revealed that's going to be a future rare as well. Okay. Pikachu, Mew, and Mewtwo, all 3 got one. The Mewtwo, side note, doesn't look very playable at all from what I've seen.
Not in the current environment.
Yeah, I don't.
Which once again, in 151, right? Like the Mew was real playable, and the Mewtwo promo was not. It doesn't strike me as this. It's not the same direction that other card games have gone with their new cards being released, right? Like the artwork once again looks.
It's the 30th anniversary, man, and this is what we get. I wanted manga cards like so bad. That would have been so sick if we had like Charizard manga, Pikachu manga, Mewtwo manga. They could have easily done something cool with that. And it didn't even have to be like heavily textured. It just would have been sick to have those cards, even if they're high pull rates.
We've had a couple episodes back to the focus group, the think tank, the people in Pokemon who's making these decisions. Give the people what they want.
Yeah.
But I say that 5-10 minutes after I just said, change nothing.
Fair.
So, I mean.
Yeah, part of this is like, once again, I know that this is the smallest part of people who watch our content, but when you get a promo for a Worlds event, they'll give Play Stores promos. You can get some of them stamped if you win a tournament, and players that play at Worlds will get them. that promo usually has Pikachu in it. It's a Pikachu promo, but then it's got the main Pokemon of the archetypes that were in Worlds. So like the Worlds promo had like Iron Thorns in it, right? Like the one before that had there's one with Mew in it from the Mew VMAX, right? And so it's like, that's a really cool way to incorporate some things. There's the great scene from the movie with Mew and Mewtwo fighting, right? Like you could have just taken the perspective of Mew and drawn a card with all the trainers and Misty and all that. And it's like hindsight's always 2020. And I mean, we've known this has been coming since January.
You know what they should have done that would have been sick is they should have taken every deck that's won Worlds in the past 30 years and made an alternate art version of the main card from those decks.
Yeah.
They could have 30 different cards, like Mew VMAX, perfect example. And the Mew VMAX could have been its own 30th anniversary alternate artwork from that World Championship.
Yeah.
And every deck that's won Worlds since the start of Pokemon would get a alternate art of the main attacker from that
So
deck.
that is a cool concept.
That would be awesome. I wish they would do something.
Now-
See, there's so many cool things they could have done.
Yeah. Why you apply for a job?
The other piece here is though,
Do the artwork and the cards.
we haven't seen the 30 Pikachus, but they're each different artists.
Yes.
And I think I saw, because he's not hard to pick out, I believe I saw Kamaya.
You did. He's in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to be able to see all that because one of my favorite art things that Pokemon has done is their jumbo cards, the V Unions that have a ton of Pikachus on them, and they're all these artists did them, right? Like it's like a hats off celebration salute to all the people that are a part of Pokemon, have been or will be in the future. So it'll be interesting to see how they do that there, because once again, even when they make a mistake, they got so many other things going for them that usually, if I consider it a mistake, nothing is going to stop them from moving forward. But I'm not a fan of these cards. I play the games. I play the card game. I collect the cards, and these don't bring me any level of nostalgia. These purely look like a card that you pull just for the value. And maybe I'll think differently when I see them.
Yeah.
Right. But like
I agree with you.
Black Bolt, White Flare chromatics,
Yeah.
dude, those
are sick.
Those looked sick in the reveal. They looked sick in person.
But why do 2 red Victinis?
Yeah, it
in
is.
different sets. That's so weird. Give me
And then they just
something
trans-
unique.
and
It's
they-
like somebody made a mistake and they thought, well, Bob, we've already printed all this stuff. Yeah, Sally over there kind of said that she reviewed this, and well, let's increase our AR budget because Sally ain't doing a good job.
Yeah, man. I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know. Like Josh said, like we were saying earlier, maybe we just have to see him in person, but it feels like a huge missed opportunity. One other missed opportunity I want to talk about.
Yeah.
There's still more
The
to be
stamp.
revealed. I'm holding out,
That's
though,
true.
because maybe you don't want to blow your wad all in one
Yeah.
presentation, right?
Yeah. And maybe like I said, I think there's going to be some SIRs in here. We haven't had a Hisuian Zoroark since Crown Zenith, and they revealed a Hisuian
Well, dude.
Zorua as an illustration rare, so I'm hoping we get like connecting our SIR Hisuian Zoroark. But the 30th stamps, why did they just put the same stamp that they did for 25th with the 3-0 instead of the 2-5 when they just revealed 1,000+ logos of 30th anniversary Pokemon?
Yeah.
That each Pokemon
Each Pokemon
could
could've
have
had
its
their
own
own,
30th stamp
It
on
would've
it
been
that
dope.
has its Pokemon with it. It would have been so cool if they
would've
did
been so
that.
cool.
But they completely swung and missed on that too.
Well,
in my
I
opinion.
think you've got an operational nightmare there,
maybe,
but I don't know.
I don't know, man. It just feels like, and again, like to Travis's point, we don't know shit, man. Like Pokemon knows what they're doing, right? They're making all
Or
the
I don't
money.
know. Or I mean, that's the biggest fallacy. I mean, the idea that you don't want to fail, so you do nothing,
Yeah.
is what leads to failure. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, there'll come a time where people's attention span.
Yeah.
It's just you can't hang in the hobby. Like I'll get bored. People will get bored. They'll be.
Yeah.
I'm already kind of collecting. I got so many slabs that I own that I'm all. It's. I've given
got
this
fatigue.
analogy in the past where it's like, hey, you're a kid in the cereal aisle and you're gonna pick out cereal, and like you are really excited to go in there and pick out cereal, and your mom lets you pick out one box, and you just are so overwhelmed that you can't decide which box you want. So when you leave, you pick out nothing.
Yeah.
Because you
Yeah.
don't, but you have 100 good choices, but you don't pick out. That's kind of where I'm getting. Just my own personal journey is I'm at the place where there's just so much to collect. You can't keep up with it. I've got to prioritize. Am I trying to finish my Sword and Shield? Am I trying to finish Scarlet and Violet? Well, to keep up with my completionist OCD to complete that means I sleep on the current stuff. Now that it's $80 to send stuff into PSA, my desire to send stuff into PSA is even less. And meanwhile, you can't find the product anywhere. I can't go out and actually get it. Now, I say this as like I don't open as much Pokemon product myself because the price is just so high. Being a card shop owner, I'll open maybe 40 packs of a new set, 50 packs, but I'm probably opening 10% of what I was in the middle of the Scarlet and Violet era. And so just for me, it's like I'm kind of at the point where it's like, dude, I think I'm going to shift my collection. I think I'm going to kind of wind down and change, and it's just because I can't keep up.
It's fair.
Yeah, collector fatigue is a thing. And when you have 6 sets a year with 5 to 7 special illustration rares, and so let's assume that you want 2 or 3 of those. That's 18 cards a year, 1 in 90 packs. And then you get the specialty set thrown at you, which is whatever, Ascended Heroes.
Heroes, yeah.
And to get the one that you want, you're whatever. The math is there. It's not fun.
No.
Yeah, it's kind of shifting it from where it used to be a couple years ago is you would just buy some packs and then pull what you wanted, to now from a cost-benefit analysis, you just go find the card that you want. And then you miss out on some of the joy. Now you have it, but you missed out on it.
Just not the same, man.
It's not the same. It's not the same.
All right, let's wrap up with some Tinker Time. Quick tinker. Yeah, Travis!
Nailed it.
Oh, let's get it!
All right, quick Tinker Time today because we had so much to talk about. This one's not really a game or anything. It's just a...
Man, if it's not a game, I don't want to play.
We're not going to play because there's no game. Just a quick little thought floater out there. You guys know that Magic has like crossover sets with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Lord of the Rings, Fallout, all this stuff. Do you think there would ever be a world where Pokemon would have a crossover set that could actually work? And if you do, what do you think could actually fit into that world where they could do like a crossover series? You can't say like Digimon.
Oh, I was going to say Digimon.
No.
That's what I was going to say.
No, that's too easy. Like, okay, a good example. They did the Mario Pikachu. Right? Mario, Luigi, Pikachu.
Uh-huh.
That was a crossover deal, right? Like,
Yeah, Nintendo.
yeah. So is there another one you could see them potentially
Zelda.
doing? Zelda? That'd be sick. Yeah.
Josh
No?
is like, okay. I was going to say, he's like a purist. So
No. Give me Zelda, any of it, as much of it as possible. Throw it in there.
Kirby, just thinking classic Nintendo brands.
Yeah.
Kirby, Mega Man.
Yep.
No, Mega Man is Sega.
Yeah, but still, Mega Man was on. Mega Man, it's called Rockman in Japan. It's that's a good one. And plus, Mega Man himself.
Metroid. Just think of Super Smash Brothers characters.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Like
You
the
know?
only crossover that Pokemon's ever really been in is Super Smash, right?
Yeah.
The Smash Brothers. And so you've
That'd
got
be cool.
you've got all that. I think there's a natural thing here where I'm not an anime head guy, right? And I'm not going to say One Piece, but there are enough animes, and I'm trying to think of the one because I had this conversation a long time ago. I think My Hero.
My Hero Academia.
Yes.
They've done crossovers with other games.
Where make Ash go to the school,
Yeah.
right, and have him have this thing going on where Pokemon exist in that universe. I think there's a natural crossover there that would be successful with a current era type anime that's not futuristic, right? That's not old school or old timey, not set in the samurai world, but like is a current era anime. I think you've got a natural crossover right there because the art style is similar, and you could run with it.
It feels like a lot of like animes could be potentially easy crossovers.
So that's an easy one, just based on country of origin. I think if you were going to do cards and have it be a crossover, I think there's a lot of real easy things that can be done from a monetization standpoint. You cross over, you grab a rep from each North American major league sports, and you have them determine what their mascot is relative to a current 1,025 Pokemon.
Oh.
And
yeah.
you do a Kansas City Kingdras, right? Or something like I just hit me, right?
cool.
But like, not that that's the best idea, but you figure out the Buffalo Tauruses, right?
Yeah.
And you have merchandise that's officially licensed, that is the Buffalo Bills logo, but instead of it being the Bills, it's a Tauros in the background, right? Give just because we're homies, give Rayquaza to Philadelphia. And have the Screaming Eagle be a Rayquaza instead. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like there's a world where you could pull that off, not just with football, but you could do it with baseball. You could do it with colleges.
They actually do have merchandise that is out there that's NFL logos with Pokemon, and Rayquaza was the Eagles one. That's what brought it to my mind. But it was more of like a Temu Etsy thing.
Yeah. So this is what I'm like, and they do have Pokemon Night at the K, right, at Kaufman, where you get a Pikachu on the Royals
bobblehead.
Which is cool, right? Just like Star Wars Day and all that sort of stuff. It's cool, but like actually give the Royals a Pokemon mascot. Give the Chiefs. Give the Sabres or the Arizona Wild, like hockey teams, do that with Premier League, right? Like make your crossover wherever you need it to be. What's the biggest sports card what's the number one sports card that's sold? Okay, well then let's do this with that brand. So get Panini to co-op with Pokemon and print out some stuff.
I heard Topps is coming back for the 30th.
There you go. Give Topps.
Topps is making a 30th anniversary set.
I heard that too.
Okay.
I don't know if it's true, but I did hear that.
Is it
serialized and signatures?
Yeah, so Topps has this line where they like memorialize pop culture icons, and I think the voice actor for Ash has shown her signature being used for Topps. But anyway, I think sports is an easy collab.
Yeah,
it's not hard at all. I mean, give me the fighting Magikarps or the fighting Gyarados, right? Give me.
I mean, One Piece just did it with that basketball Luffy card.
Yep, and the baseball Dodgers card.
Yeah,
right. So. There's something there. So anime, baseball, and then from like another IP, Zelda, Metroid.
That'd be cool. You know what I want to see? I want to see a Star Wars collab with Pokemon. I want a Snorlax the Hut.
I love it.
Or
who would be like the Boba Fett?
So Boba Fett, I think of like Saraledge or something.
Yes.
Or like that's what comes to mind for me.
Yeah.
But it'd just be kind of cool because like. You could have like Orthworm be the big worm in the asteroid that swallows the Millennium Falcon. I don't know. There's just some cool stuff you could do.
Yeah.
Imagine you had an illustration rare and it's an asteroid floating through space and the Orthworm's just sticking out of it. And, there's just cool illustration concepts they could do with that.
There's a lot of cool stuff they could do there. We brought this up tangentially like 3 or 4 times this podcast. Pokemon has to continue to evolve. You evolve or die, right? One of my favorite business stories is the Museum of Failures, which has a ton of Oreo products in it. Because Oreo was always trying to figure out what their next combo was. And people are like, well, why would you ever try to do anything different than your classic? They just continued to, right? They didn't want to be Blockbuster. They didn't want to be Toys R Us, right? They wanted to keep evolving. Pokemon's going to have to keep evolving, and I don't know what the next evolution is. It feels very obvious, but serialized cards seem to be a thing that they're going to have to run to.
Yeah.
It's either serialized cards or it's this 1 in 36 booster box hit.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's true.
And in that, if your 1 in 36 booster box hit was like a Darth Vader crossover, like
just imagine Pikachu with a little Darth Vader helmet.
Pikachu's Yoda.
Yeah, or could be Yoda.
right, or whatever the case may be. Like, oh man, that would be fantastic. I would love it.
I think it's kind of a little bit off topic from where the track you guys are taking, but like another e-reader type where you bought the Pokemon card and then you somehow scan that card or that card was tied to like the Pokemon Game Boy game.
Yeah.
Where like for you to catch a Pokemon, you actually had to unlock it first in a pack. You'd have to make it to where like the barcode was unique so that people couldn't just take a picture of somebody else's card, like a redeem of one or something.
Yeah.
So it's just like, because I mean, if you could have that back in 2000, where you bought the little thing and you scanned it, swiped the card, they should have that now.
Yeah.
I could see them easily bringing that back. That's not a bad shout either. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, it's not. It's kind of nostalgic for sake, but it's not really a co-op thing. The Super Smash Bros. Thing I think is super cool. And I'm waiting on the actual real movie. They need to have an actual real movie. Like their IP right now, because it takes every 2 years to develop like a AAA blockbuster movie. Like a 2-year cadence over the next 10 years, you could have 5 blockbuster Pokemon movies that are the real action movies. I don't know why they don't have
that. If you really mobilize, you could pull off a Marvel Cinematic Universe inside of a story arc, and you could do 22 movies.
It would get more people in. And here's why I don't know enough about the corporate structure of who owns the IP. The trading card, I think, is slightly different than the main Pokemon IP. We have to fact check this maybe after the show. But
Game Freak is a company that's responsible for the video games and the the trading card game.
You got Nintendo, you got Game Freak, then you've got
You
that
got
Nintendo.
Nintendo, then you have Pokemon, and then you got Game Freak has these couple pillars in it, and then you got other people that are
What's
doing
that
things over here.
Nintendic or whatever? The one
Niantic,
the Pokemon Go.
They had Pokemon Go, but they then sold it. But,
like Pacopia was what's his
a
name?
different game developer.
Yeah.
Konami.
Yeah.
The reason I'm just wondering if like there is the people over the Pokemon cards, like the Pokemon card P&L for that corporate entity
Yep.
would be different than the P&L of the main movie rights.
Correct.
And if the movie right people, but movies now, it's like Disney is spending billions of dollars for Marvel, billions of dollars for Star Wars, right? Yeah. It's like, and why are they doing that? So that they could they could produce so many, cinematic content.
Yep.
So now it's like, dude, you guys are killing the Star Wars brand because these movies aren't as good as what they used to be.
Yeah.
There's a lot of controversy around them. And the recent one that just came out, people are like, oh, it's flopping, it's not very good. So that would be the concern for going too heavy. But, dude, you've got 4 or 5 movies, I think, before you really get there. And like Marvel, the cinematic universe that they captured so well, that Universal tried to capture, or DC Comics tried to capture and didn't quite do as well. Yeah, you could totally do that.
Yeah.
There could be an episode, like a movie about the gym challenge leaders, a movie about Ash's origin story.
Yeah, dude, you could totally just sell the rights for the show. Don't even make a movie. Give us like 1 season or storyboard 2 seasons, sell it to Disney Plus or Hulu or one of the streaming services for enough money to cover the actually making of it, right?
One Piece just did that with Netflix. You could do the same thing.
Yeah, it's just weird. It seems like such like a duh. Like you're one of the biggest, you are the biggest IP brand that exists, but yet you have no cinematic presence at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the last animation shows that you created that people are still watching came out in the mid 90s.
Yeah, and give us, you got plenty of stories.
Like what are we missing here?
Yeah, you got plenty of stories to pull from too, right? Because you got all the games. Each game has its own story, and maybe they're a little bit.
You
rinse and
come out
rewash,
with
but-
a movie release at the same time as the new game. It's a worldwide unified rollout. The game releases the same time as the new era of Pokemon packs. It's the same time as the new movie.
Yep. With the new starters, right? Gen 10, right? You just run with it. Come on.
Pretty dope to see like walk out there in like a live action. You see him for the first time.
Yeah.
And, I start to see like Zach Rom Restroom, all that, and the whole story there. But yeah, that would be cool. I'm with it. But yeah, thanks guys.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll catch you next week, guys.
All right. Thanks.
Later.